What's up, YouTube? It's Kevin here, the Migraine Guy, bringing you part 3 in my video series on the Migraine Research Foundation. Today, we're talking about studies. So the Migraine Research Foundation exists as the only nonprofit, the only 501c3 whose purpose is to fund migraine research. They do this in a few ways, one of which is that their board of directors actually covers all of the costs associated with running the foundation. What that does is it frees them as an organization to take every dollar that comes in donations and make sure that that goes out as a dollar towards research. And this prevents any of the worries that you might have about donating. How much money, for example, is going to go towards actual research. In the Migraine Research Foundation's case, it's every dollar. 100% of your donation goes out towards research, and that's great. And that's why I'm doing this video today, because it's about, well, what is the research that they're helping fund? It's great that you're giving all my money to research, but what is that research? Well, there are two things I'm going to highlight about the research. There's a lot more to talk about, more than I have time to talk about. This would be a very long video, in fact, if I went on about every aspect that they've helped fund. In the video description below, I will, of course, put links to all of the relevant information that you would want to look up on your own. But as far as today, I'm going to talk about two particular aspects. One is relates to women, and one is relates to technology. So the one that relates to women is that the Migraine Research Foundation, the MRF, has helped fund research that has shown there's a higher correlation amongst women who have aura with their migraine with aura, and having strokes later in life. And so what this does is, even though it sounds kind of depressing, right? Stroke is one of those words that you do not want to hear. But if you are a female who has migraine with aura, and of course aura is kind of that hypersensory activity associated with your migraine, you might get visual disturbances, auditory disturbances, other disturbances. I'll put a link in the description below that kind of gives a lot of the general characteristics of aura so you can know if you qualify, as well as be able to tell your doctor about those symptoms. But if you're a female who has aura with your migraine, and you know that that's going to put you, now that there's research to show it, at a higher risk for stroke, now you can actually take some control of your life and try to minimize those other areas of your life that are putting you at risk, at least a higher risk for stroke. So if you talk with your doctor about your diet, for example, knowing that you're at a higher risk for stroke because of your migraines, now you can reduce dietary factors that are putting you at a higher risk for stroke, as well as maybe things like exercise or things like other medications you're taking, or if you're a smoker, or all sorts of things that raise your risk for stroke. If you know you're a migraine sufferer, a female migraine sufferer who has aura symptoms, that's going to put you at a higher risk for stroke also. And since you can't really control the migraine part, you might be able to control some of those other factors, remove them, and hopefully reduce your overall risk for stroke. And so that's a great benefit from some of the research. It's not telling us as migraine sufferers or as female migraine sufferers that you can eliminate the risk for stroke, but since you're at a higher risk automatically, you can now start doing things to help remove the other parts that might actually put you at an even higher risk. And so it's actually very, very good information, even though the word stroke is kind of scary. And then the second thing that I'm going to talk about as relates to the research they founded is, because I like technology, I like computers, I like software, and so they've actually funded, I'll give you the full definition or the full explanation here. They've established a migraine-specific DNA database and searchable electronic database for use in future research. And I don't know too much about this, but given that I know a little bit about databases and a little bit about genetics, the idea seems to be something like, if I'm a researcher in South Korea, for example, and I want to know anything that researchers around the world have found, but maybe I don't have access to those researchers, or I don't want to have to sift through every single study that they've published, all of those pieces of information can get put into the database that I can now search through. So if I have in mind a particular genetic component about migraine that I want to talk about or do some research on, I can input that in the database, and it will help sort all of the relevant information. And that's great, because the reason Google is so popular is because it makes finding information easy. It makes finding information intuitive, and it makes finding information quick. That same mentality applied to genetics and migraine surely should be the kind of thing that is obviously going to be beneficial to migraine research. If researchers want to isolate particular aspects of genetics and particular aspects about migraine sufferers, and they have a computerized way of doing that, it's going to be rapid and it's going to be superior to human memory or conversations with other researchers. And so I really like the idea of creating databases that actually serve to make more efficient the research process. And so the fact that the Migraine Research Foundation has helped fund that, just for me, is fun because I really like computers and technology, but also it's just abstractly the kind of thing that we should be pushing all medical research towards is computerized databases, because that's the kind of thing that will make research more efficient, and as well as more quick. Let me start over. It will make it more efficient, but also more democratic, in that more people will now have access to that efficient data system. And so, overall, those two things, if those were the only two areas that the Migraine Research Foundation actually funded, would be enough to help sway me towards donating. But given the fact that they fund a lot more than that, they're clearly a great foundation, something everyone should be considering donating to. So if you haven't donated yet, make sure to go to their website and consider donating as little as $5. You can do it on a reoccurring basis. So if you want to do $5 a month, which amounts to $60 a year, which isn't a lot, maybe it's going to stretch your budget a little thin, but it's not a ton. You can do that. If you want to donate more all at once, or you want to donate a little bit more every month, you can do that also. So be sure to check their website out. Make sure to hit the thumbs up button if you like this video. Make sure to leave a comment below if you have donated. And be sure to hit subscribe if you want to be updated about videos that I do in the future. And until next time, take it easy, YouTube.